The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd is not who you think he is.
He's embarrassed of the fact that he lived here. He was a drug addict.
Yeah.
The landlord like 3 months to clean up his apartment.
This is a guy who knew The Weeknd before he was famous. And spoiler alert, he kinda hates
He couldn't give a shit about you.
Also, he kinda hates me too. But we'll get to that later in the video.
It all started when my friends and I were visiting Toronto, and we decided to check out the apartment building The Weeknd used to live in before the fame. He's always been a huge inspiration to me, and we thought it would be cool to see it in person.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually extremely nervous.
I think you should lie.
The third floor, which is all the way up there, that top window and the little balcony, that's pretty much where he lived, and that's pretty much where most of his experiences happened. The entire house of balloons is pretty much wrapped around everything that happened right up there.
But it's okay, cause you don't need it where we're going. It got too far locked in the middle of the city.
This is also where the King of the Falls music video was shot, literally right here. So the angle was kind of like this. He was wearing a blue jacket, and then he kind of walks down the street. I'm pretty sure, I actually haven't watched the music video in a while, but based on just my pure glazing abilities, I have a confident thought. And you can see this sign in the background of that music video.
I decided to knock on the door to see if we could get a tour, and I did not expect what comes next.
Hi.
Hi. What do you need?
So we're just shooting a video, like a documentary kind of thing about The Weeknd, obviously. He used to live here.
That's right.
Way back. Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Of course. Yeah, you're not allowed in the house, I'm sorry.
How long have you been living here?
I've been living here 15 years.
So were you here during that whole era?
Yeah.
Ah, so you and him.
No, they were on drugs, man. I don't know what you glamorize this guy. The guy he couldn't give a shit about you. In fact, when he shot his videos, they wouldn't even pay respect to the tenants that lived in the house. My apartment is in his videos. I didn't get paid for that. And to be honest with you, I don't know why you waste your time, because he would never come back here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's embarrassed of the fact that he lived here. He was a drug addict.
Yeah.
It took the landlord like 3 months to clean up his apartment after he left. The landlord rented him an apartment, him and 2 other guys, for cheap money.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They were 3 guys living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
And they were just partying all the time?
Crack and drugs, yeah. So that's really your history that you want to know about him. There's not really anything bright about him, the fact that he lived here. You guys idolize this guy. He couldn't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Doesn't care less. As long as you buy his records. That's all he's concerned about.
Right. I assume you and him didn't have the best history?
No, it's not that at all. It's just that, you know what? You guys put all this penance on somebody that really
just doesn't
really
care.
Did nothing for anybody.
Right.
Right? As soon as he got his hit, that was it. He was gone.
Now, I've had the man's meat in my mouth since 2013. He's been a huge inspiration in a lot of my life and one of the biggest idols that I look up to. So it was a little bit weird to hear these things about him. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to be visiting some milestone locations that The Weeknd used as stepping stones in his career, and I'm going to be backtracking how he went from this notorious scumbag to the #1 streamed artist in the world. And I also want to figure out how he went from homeless to Forbes list, because I do think there's probably an inspirational story somewhere in there for you to go from, you know, bottom of the barrel scumbag to philanthropist and #1 streamed artist in the world.
Right here is the very first spot. When he was only 18 and homeless, this is the street that he used to stand on, and he literally used to sing on the street for money.
You don't know what's in store.
Every day after work, he would literally pull up to this place right here. This is where the mixtape Thursday, Echoes of Silence, and House of Balloons was made. It's crazy to think that those 3 mixtapes that then turned into the trilogy, which snowballed his entire career into where it's at today, literally all started in this ghetto-ass building right next to me. There's a sign that says enter through the red door, which is literally right there. I'm honestly just gonna show up and see what happens. Do I knock on the door, or do I just... Is this a house? I'm just gonna...
I literally did not know if this was a house or not, but I just decided to walk in.
Someone's singing. Do you hear the singing? It's definitely still a running studio. Okay, so this is the loft pretty much of where Trilogy was made.
And this is just one of the many iconic locations we'll be visiting throughout this video.
We just kind of walked in here. I don't know what to do. Should I knock on the door? Hey, sorry guys. No, we're just doing like a YouTube video thing.
What are you guys' names, man?
Milad.
Oh, for real? Milad?
Milad, yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Conrad, yeah.
Conrad gave us a full tour of the studio, but the best part was something we weren't expecting. The bathroom.
That's crazy. So it was House of Balloons, Thursday, Echoes. Bro, that's crazy. These are the actual. Bro, Kevin, I know you're low key. I know you're low key kind of tweaking.
It's pretty crazy. I can't lie. This is pretty fire.
This album changed so much of the trajectory of how I was inspired in life, and like part of the reason why we're even making this video or like YouTube as a whole. So that's crazy.
Essentially, it's kind of funny because I came here like 4 or 5 years ago to record like my first song, and it was trash. Cause actually, I'm a huge fan as well of The Weeknd. And then, like, but it turns out he actually recorded it in this room here.
Your B&M fan, she on that B&M band, so tuck handstand wide open Pac-Man.
That was very surreal. For someone who's always seen him through a lens, and like now kind of walking into the paths that he's pretty much walked to get to where he is, and then seeing like the plaque, that's kind of like a emblem of like where he's at now, is insane. This is where he used to work. Right here is what used to be at one point in time American Apparel. It's now Urban Outfitters. And then right around the corner is where you would go and you'd find the studio. When he was working here, he had released the songs anonymously, and his coworkers used to listen to it in this store. But his coworkers didn't know that it was actually him that sang those songs right around the corner. I wonder how many times he almost got hit by a car here, because I'm like on my 6th attempt. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we literally just recorded everything, and then someone, I'm not gonna name names, but Kevin forgot to turn the mic on. So
I think as the YouTuber, you know how to use your...
Right behind me is the, what's it called?
Jesus. It's the California sandwiches.
That's above me. I was just
Even
making
though
sure.
we're in Toronto.
I was making sure.
They import them from California.
They do not do that. Apparently, this is where The Weeknd used to come after he would have some local shows, and then he would just come here. And this was his favorite restaurant, you said?
This is where he has one of his favorite meals, the veal sandwich.
How do you know that?
In our city said that means it's a fact, right?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm judging him for veal sandwich. You think those kids were kidnapped, or you think there's kids?
And if you're a true EXO fan, you definitely recognize this place.
So this place, at one point in time, it used to be called the Mod Club. This is where The Weeknd had his first ever like in-person concert. Most of the mixtapes that he was making, he wasn't showing his face. He was releasing them as like anonymous. So this place was the first time he showed his face. He performed in front of like a crowd of like 400 to 500 people. Let's see if we can get inside here. Okay, that's crazy. I've seen so many videos of this, like over years, of just him performing here, because it was like a very notable moment in his career. So it's a little weird to like be here for real. Literally, the stage right there. The stage right there is where he had his first concert. This whole place, packed, full of people. This is wild, it's surreal. I'm pretty sure at this concert is when he brought out Drake. I don't know if it was the same concert, but I'm pretty sure that this was the spot. So the next spot behind me is, I actually have no idea. Kevin knows more about the history here.
This is apartment 200. It's club meets lounge where The Weeknd used to chill. He also had quite a few concerts here inside, although they were much smaller at the time.
I've heard some stories about how like when he was smaller and he would do smaller shows, he would just show up absolutely like off something, like too drunk, too high, and he like was slurring in his concerts. This is the famous green doors. This is the gate. To walk through those doors and not hit your head, you must have been so short. Dude, I think The Weeknd's like this tall, unironically.
Well, The Weeknd's about 2 days relative to the weekday, which is about 5 days.
All right.
I want the lesson of this video to basically be that if The Weeknd could go from this to that, then so can you. His journey isn't just a rise to fame. It's a story of resilience. You know, he overcame homelessness, addiction, and even Diddy. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments down below what's something you would try to achieve if you knew you couldn't fail. No matter what you're after, how big your dream is, how crazy it sounds, just stick to it, go after it, and just believe in yourself. You got this.
This is me pretending like I'm The Weeknd and I have a veal sandwich in my hand. This is my favorite meal. That's not going in.
The worst thing I've ever watched.
That's not going in the
That might have been the worst thing I've ever watched. I mean that.